Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and today is October 5th, so it's day 5 of VEDO and day 5 of the Cozyathon. But before I get into all of that, I wanted to just mention my dad because I've been thinking about my dad today. Today is the anniversary of his passing. He died October 5th, 1986, so it's been 31 years since he left this earth, and I've just been thinking about him today. He was a great man. He was a junior high and high school science teacher, well beloved by his students, and he was a deacon in our church and just taught me a lot of valuable things that I have carried on throughout my life. I was 21 when he passed away. He did get to see me graduate from college, and so just wanted to mention my dad for a second. Now, as far as the Cozyathon goes, the challenge I did last night was the 4th challenge, and that was to read while wearing fuzzy socks and a cozy jumper. And I did that. I think I probably dozed a little more than I read. I think I only got about 10 or 12 pages read, and I sat in the recliner for maybe an hour and a half. But somewhere around midnight, I got up and actually went to bed. But it was fun to do. Now, the challenge to read a book entirely by candlelight, I did not accomplish that on day 3, but I'm going to move that to day 9 and combine it with the challenge to read a book that has chocolate in the title, because I have discovered on my shelf an elementary level book. It's a chapter book. I've read it before and it's adorable, and I'm going to reread that entirely by candlelight, and then I'll accomplish both of those challenges at once. And the challenge today is to read while listening to relaxing music. So I plan to do that sometime later today. Now, I originally was going to do a summer wrap up and show you some of the books that I read, maybe at least for September. But I've been showing you those books all throughout my Friday reads, which I've been doing pretty faithfully, I think, in September. So you'll be able to go back and see the actual books that I read if you check out my Friday reads. And please don't be shy about commenting to older videos. I love when people comment to any videos. So if you go back to a video that's a year old and you want to talk about a book I read a year ago, then I'm all for that. But I never did a summer wrap up. So let me just kind of give you the stats of what I read and how much I read and the genres and everything. And then what I plan to do, since I'm doing VEDO, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos over the course of the month. I have already been working on grouping these books into various categories and genres, and I'll do some series reviews of the series that I've finished and stuff like that. So I will come back and tell you about the books that I read, and there may be a couple that I read that I'm still working on that series and it's almost done, and when I get those done, then I'll give you a series review on that. So I may not mention every single book that I read during the summer, but the majority of them I will. So in the month of June, I finished only 5 books, but I did start another 5 that I finished within the first week of July. So June doesn't look that great on paper, but I was reading only books that were 400 pages or more, working on my Big Book Challenge and my Giant Book June Challenge. So then in July, because I had those 5 to add to my total, that bumped it up, and I had 30 books finished for July, and then 25 for August. So for those 3 months, I averaged 20 books a month, which is exciting. Then I almost made it in September. I finished 19 books in September. Now, of the books that I read in those 4 months, 41 of them were audiobooks, 25 were physical books, 10 were ebooks, and of those 10, 6 of them were just little short novellas. Then, of all of those, I read 19 that were big books. So 19 books that were 400 pages or more, and then within those 19, at least 10 or 12 of them were 500 pages or more. All right, now the majority of what I read were series books. I read 47 books that are connected with series or part of a series. 6 of those were the little novellas that I talked about that I read on ebook. Now, I finished a total of 8 series, and I'm still working on a few more, but during that 4-month period, I finished 8 series, but it took me 18 books to do it. So I had several that I just had 1 or 2, and then I had a couple of series where I needed to read 3 or 4, and I'm excited that I finished 8 series. And one of those series that I finished, I also started during that time frame. In fact, just last week, it was the Defy, Ignite, and Endure by Sarah B. Larson. So I read that or listened to that in its entirety. Then 18 standalones out of all of the books that I read. So definitely the majority were series books. Then I had 18 standalones. I had 3 graphic novels and 5 to 7 nonfiction books, depending on how you want to classify it. I had one book that was connected with a series, but it was that book of quotes, The Patches of Godlight. I don't know whether to count that as fiction or nonfiction, because it's based on a fictional character, but all the quotes are all nonfiction. They're all real quotes by real people. So then I also had a middle grade book that was based on a true story, but it was listed under fiction, like at the library. So I don't really know. 5 to 7 nonfiction books. Then I had 5 children's storybooks that I read, and then 3 of our Sunshine State books. I read those. Those are all middle grade books. And then I also read a traveling book that was sent to me from Acos, and I read that and sent it on its way to the next person. Then, what else? I guess that's about it, really. That's all of the stats. What I should have done was figure out how many from each genre, but I am working on that. I'm working on how to kind of divide them up so that I can do some wrap-ups, like a romance wrap-up and a book club wrap-up and a an audiobook wrap-up, or maybe translated books. I actually had several translated books this summer, so I'm going to keep working on the best way to divide those up. But that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.